I'm wearing the same shirt. Does that mean this is my favorite shirt or I never change? No, it means I'm doing 2 videos in one day. Actually, I'm doing 3 because I'm also trying to do a daily vlog. But I want to talk about hearing God because people think it's so difficult. And once again, misconception. They look at Elijah and they want to say, if you want to hear God, you gotta listen to that small, quiet voice. Okay, so the story is in 1 Kings 19. Elijah just calls fire down from heaven. He destroys all the prophets of Baal. Jezebel is extremely angry with him, and she says, I'm gonna kill him. Then the guy who just called fire down from heaven is freaking out and running for his life. Doesn't make any sense. Shows you how fickle people are. Which I love it because, what is it in James? Towards the end, it says that Elijah was a man just like the rest of us. And you think, no, he's super spiritual. He was able to call fire down from heaven. It's like, oh, he was a little scaredy cat. But he still at least listened to God. Anyway, so he's running for his life. God meets up with him. And he says, okay, I need to show you something. I need you to go up to this mountain and wait for me there. People think, oh, God's going to teach him a lesson on how to hear him. How dense can... I'm sorry, I don't mean to insult, but look at this. Listen, okay, Elijah, I know you don't know how to hear my voice, so I'm going to teach you how to hear my voice. So if you listen to me right now, I'll give you instructions on how to hear me. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but it's taught everywhere in the church. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. No sense. So, he goes to the mountain, and I will show you why he went to the mountain. Okay? He goes to the cave, spent the night, and God's asking, what are you doing here, Elijah? He says, I have been very zealous, okay? Israelites totally abandoned you. I tried to make everything right, tried to get rid of Baal, and now I did what you said for me to do, and Jezebel wants to kill me. So he says, go stand on the mountain in my presence. I'm about to pass by. Now, okay, listen to this. He's in the cave and the mountain, the cleft of the rock, okay? So, then a great and powerful wind tore the mountains apart, shattered rocks. But the Lord was not in the wind. What does that mean? I had no part in it. It means he didn't cause it. He wasn't in it. He didn't do it. People keep on thinking, well, that wasn't his voice. He wasn't earth-shattering. No, it wasn't him at all. After the wind, there was an earthquake. But once again, the Lord wasn't in the earthquake. And then after the earthquake, there was a fire. But the Lord wasn't in the fire. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. When Elijah heard it, he pulled his cloak over his face and went out and stood at the mountain of the cave. Then a voice said to him, what are you doing here? You see what he did? Elijah didn't, because he says the exact same thing all over again. Okay, look, I did everything you told me to do. I killed all the prophets, but then they killed all of your prophets, and I'm the only one left, and now they're going to try to kill me too. It's like, okay, you people are dense. I told you, hide in the cave. What happened? There's like a tornado, hurricane, earthquake, fire. Were you harmed in any of it? Did you get hurt? These are like major things. Are you scathed at all? Do you get it? It's kind of like the same thing with Job. God let Satan do whatever he wanted with Job. But God keeps on showing that he's got Satan on a leash. You can't do anything apart from what he allows. And so he's basically telling Elijah, look, the real enemy is Satan. He's trying to throw everything he has at you. You're under my protection. I'm taking care of you. You are okay. Continue to listen to me. I'll let you know what's going on. Like he said to Paul, okay, if you want to suffer, I'm going to tell you how you're going to suffer. And Paul wasn't afraid of it. He's like, bring it on. Look, I persecuted the church. If they persecute me, I'm just getting what I deserve. I'm not afraid of my own wealth. I don't care about my own well-being. I care about them. I care about where they're going, if they know Christ or not. That's my ultimate concern. I don't care about me. This whole still small whisper thing is not about hearing God. It's about trusting him and realizing that he's in control of everything. And somehow, everybody seems to miss it. God is actually very easy to hear, believe it or not. And it's not that hard to discern what his voice is. He says the sheep know his voice, and people would say, well, that just means you listen to the gospel message and now you're saved, but it doesn't mean it's going to be any easier to hear him. And people come up with these weird formulas on how to hear him and how to discern and what it's supposed to be simple. Okay, look, if he compares our relationship between a husband and wife, shouldn't they be intimate with each other? Should they really be asking, is that my husband? Sounds kind of like my husband, but I'm not sure. Is that really him? Is that really my wife? You're supposed to be intimate. He put his own spirit inside of you. You should know. But people like to guess. They're like, if I hear a voice in my head, I know it's got to be God. Well, most of the time, with me, if ever I hear a voice in my head, it's just me. But if I feel something that's compelling, and it's like something you can't shake, that's God. It's kind of a... It sounds bad. But kind of a nag. Like, one time I was over at an airport, and there was this, like, fat, sweaty, stinky guy that was sitting next to me, and I didn't want to talk to him, but I felt like I was supposed to. It's like, I don't want to. Most of the time, well, not most of the time, but a lot of times, when God's telling us to do something, it's something we don't want to do. But it's good. Not like he's going to tell you to rob a bank or divorce anybody or anything. He's not going to tell you to do anything immoral. But, so at the airport, my flight kept on getting canceled. All the planes had like electrical or mechanical failure, and I kept trying to avoid the guy. And he came across my path like 3 or 4 times. And so, at the very end, I was sitting by myself. He was gone. It's like, fine, God, if you want me to talk to the guy, help me to find him. The guy walks straight across, sits right on the floor, directly in front of me, across the terminal. You can't miss him. Like, okay, I'll go talk to him. And then I found out what he was doing at the airport and how he had sacrificed his seat for his friends and allowed them to go on ahead of him, and he was supposed to like help a relative or something, and got to pray for him. And that's how you hear God. It's not like you have to question it. You know beyond a shadow of a doubt, and you know it's not you. It's not something you necessarily would want to do. You can do it. I mean, God can sometimes tell you the desire of your heart and you actually want to do it. I'm not going to say that it's always an obligation, but there's no question as to whether or not it's him. If you have to question it, it's not him. So, in one of my books, I compared it to, like if you had a best friend and they just gave you a certain look. You knew exactly what they were saying, even though they didn't use any type of words, just because you know them. You're intimate with the person. You can have your own inside jokes and things. You have a connection with that person that you don't have with anyone else. And that's how it's supposed to be with us and God. He's supposed to be a friend and a father and someone very relatable. But for some reason, people they want to make him mysterious and intangible. I'm like, That was the whole reason for Jesus dying on the cross, was so that he would be tangible. What about you guys keep on saying, the whole veil is ripped in two thing? He's tangible. You're supposed to be able to feel him. You're supposed to be able to hear him, and it's not supposed to be this mystery anymore. It's supposed to be revealed. He's not a puzzle. He solves all the puzzles. He gives you the answers. So, just to set the record straight on that misconception,